Okay, so the purpose of this video is just to summarize all of the core daily tasks that we conduct as part of this Amazon FBA business. I'm going to go into some of these in much more detail in separate videos so you can see how they're compiled, but I wanted to give everybody insight into some of the key things that we focus on a daily basis. I will create a template of both this daily, weekly, monthly, and ongoing tasks, probably deleting the Guru SOP in the files just because it's very personal to our business with some brand information. But you'll be able to take that template and build this out for how your own team functions on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So just starting off with how this template's all set up, it's basically a task description. So what is actually being conducted? What's the timing of it? What is the business area? Again, this is why the business area aligns with the SOP structure, and it also aligns with the ClickUp structure. So there's a strategy to how we kind of align on these things. The person responsible, there's a link to the Guru SOP for how to do that task, and any files that are associated with that task or need to be updated as part of that task will also be included here. So just going top to bottom, one activity is the daily sales data, which is within the management section. So I'll just click on this as an example so you can see, again, with the Guru extension, it will actually open up within Google Sheets, which is cool. So you can see how we've named this daily sales data management and then daily reports. Purpose, we use a spreadsheet to see how sales and sessions fluctuate daily. You can see who actually does it. You can see the actual related documents, management, and then the sub area. There's a video summary that actually Paulo, who manages this task, does. And then you can kind of see here the procedure written out, and you can kind of see exactly how we structure that. I'll probably have to blur some of that out. So that's the daily sales data. We'll get into that whole process in a separate video here. The next is the month-to-date sales report, which is a core thing that gets emailed to me every single day. Again, you can kind of see the actual process here, who's doing it, what the files are, video summary, and then it's got, again, all of these different steps and procedures there. And then that gets emailed to me. We're going to do a separate video on that. And then a daily review update that comes. And really the purpose of these three things for me on a daily basis and why we instituted them and have dedicated people to them is when I was just running my Amazon businesses solo, I think like a lot of us, I would go in, I'd check my app first thing in the morning. Well, what are my sales? Then I'd go on to Amazon and I'd go to each individual ACE and see, okay, hey, what's happened? How many reviews does it have? Then I'd go into the sales data and see, hey, how did the sales data look? Or I'd go into Sellerize or some of these other apps. The problem is it was a very neurotic activity, almost like checking Facebook or checking email. So why we've instituted these three tasks is that I don't want to look at it except for once a day. Every morning I will check the month-to-date sales report. I'll check the daily review update, but I don't have to go neurotically through this, looking at every single ACE and what are the reviews, what's the sales doing, what was the advertising tacos yesterday, how did it do versus last year, like all those stats that I really want to know to facilitate managing and leading the business. I don't have to personally go in and do all those activities. So what used to maybe be, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour of wasted time throughout the day checking stuff, I literally spend 2 minutes every morning scanning stuff. If something seems off, that will now inform the strategy for the week, the month, the quarter, etc. And we'll get into all those things separately and how I look at them, but that was kind of the thesis around these first three. Then there's some stuff that happens around pay-per-click that we'll get into in separate sections. One is the kind of daily metrics file update, which has become a core part of what we look at every day. Sales performance, pay-per-click performance, organic ranking on keywords. Metrics is phenomenal, and again, we'll get into that in detail. Monitoring campaigns and updating bids, so that's a daily task we do on the pay-per-click front. Again, if you ever wanted to know how we did that, how to use Apex pay-per-click file, traffic pay-per-click, you can see the structure, you can see where we house each of those for the different brands. And then there's a video summary, and then again, there's all these different procedures that kind of link to that video with timestamps and stuff if you need to do any discrete task. Next is really just more on the operations customer service front. So we do a customer service email check across both brands twice a day. So at the start and end of shift, Nina is going to be checking the customer emails in Google, and we'll, again, in the customer service section, talk about how we manage and track all those inquiries. And again, there's some SOPs on how to actually do that. There's the Amazon service check. So obviously sometimes you get messages from customers that you need to reply within 24 hours. So that's done again daily. usually at the end of shift for Nina. On the weekends, I'll personally keep an eye on that because the team doesn't work on the weekends. So I'll just make sure that we don't go out of sync in terms of the 24-hour rule. The other thing that we do, and we'll get into this again in the review management, but we manually have a strategy to actually reply to negative reviews. So I'll get into that one later. And then just a Sellerize alert check. So again, there's alert checks on if titles have changed, if photos have changed, if we've gone out of stock, if there's been a hijacker, really anything that we want to know related to an ASIN. We get those notifications via Sellerize that go into Slack, and that's just part of the daily checks. Next is if you've got omni-channel stuff, we do get some Shopify orders, usually not every day, but there's definitely handfuls of them that kind of crop up every couple days. And so those Shopify orders we typically actually fulfill out of our office here in Utah. Actually, my wife is the one that's, I call her my shipping manager. And so anyway, so Julie does a lot of that. So Nina basically will go in on a daily basis, check for Shopify orders. If we do have some, she'll book the shipping, create the shipping label, and then she'll email Julie on the, on the shipping label that needs to go out. And we've got all that structured within Shopify. Sometimes too, we also have customers that kind of reach out and they may need replacements. And so that's kind of all managed. We try to fulfill as much as we can through Amazon fulfillment. So we'll actually ship even to Shopify customers or replacement stuff within Amazon. But there are circumstances where it makes sense for us to ship some of those products out of our Utah office. So moving along, the next thing that's kind of core is daily work summary emails that are received. I'll actually go in and find one right now so you can see. So this was Nina's email that I got 3 hours ago this morning. It basically just shows all of the things that she's done throughout the day, just so I'm kind of aware. So again, I'll kind of come in and scan and see, I'll get a really good daily digest of what the team's been up to at the individual level. So that is one of the tasks to send that at the end of every shift. And then there's the review daily email reports, metrics dashboard, and Amazon account. So I basically go in there personally. I review those emails. I review the stats for all these different things. It's a task for me. There's some stuff that's non-Amazon related here that's probably not going to be correlated to many folks or probably anybody really, but you might have some things that you do either as other businesses or personal stuff that you need to have happen. So we have the FBA exit member email file update that we do. We've got the Typeform lead automation that we check on, and then I personally go in and try to reply to comments every day on YouTube. So those are discrete tasks that we have, most of which have a SOP associated with it, and many of them have files. I would also say that there's some ongoing stuff that doesn't necessarily happen daily or on a particular cadence, but is a regular part of the workflow. So that's some of our influencer outreach stuff. We do SOP creation pretty much on a daily basis whenever stuff comes up. And now we've got that for the FBA Blueprint. So we're trying to transfer as many of those over to our FBA Blueprint SOP system. And then there's, booking Amazon shipments, there's booking international shipments, there's managing POs and work orders. All those things don't necessarily happen on a set schedule, but it's part of the, I would call it daily workflow that sometimes interjects itself. So that's kind of the daily summary. What we're going to do now is break into these 3 separate videos just so you can see exactly how each one of these ones are done, because it's a little bit more heavy lifting. And then we'll go on to the weekly, monthly after that.